Welcome back. So originally my plan for my first video back to the channel was going to be explaining kind of my absence, and then from there talking about the topic of this video, which is how to improve at Yu-Gi-Oh! But after I kind of got into the process of making this video, I think that this is better off as a standalone video because there's a lot of information in it. In my next video, I can talk more about where I've been for the last couple of months and what my plans are with the channel moving forward. So my plan right now is to have a video coming out next week, going over those ideas as well as covering the Philadelphia Regional, which is on the Saturday of the week I'm recording this video. Currently recording this clip on a Thursday. Before we get into it, I just want to take the time to thank all the people who provided their time and input and ideas to this little project of mine. It's really appreciated, and I just want them to, I told them before, but I want it to be in the video that I appreciate everything that these players have taught me, both in video and in our conversations and outside of it, because a lot of these players are people I'm very fortunate enough to talk to at least semi-frequently, some of them almost daily, at locals, regionals, anything like that.
So my name is Matt Mano, local Philadelphia player, a couple of regional tops, an ARG top, and one of my most notable tops was top 64 at Nationals 2022.
Yeah, so I'm Elliot Horowitz. I got first place at the Frederick Regional this past May.
And what deck were you playing?
I was on Blue Eyes Primate for that event.
Hi everyone, I am Shunping Xu. Most people probably already know me for a while. I've been playing TCG competitively for a bit. Most notable one, or in 2018, I won my first YCS with Sky Striker. And then in early 2020, right before COVID happened, I won the UDS with Dragonlink, and pretty much was the first one who did major results in TCG with Dragonlink.
Hello, I'm Chance. I've been playing this game for a little while, probably end of 2014. I guess some notable things that I've done is the earliest was I topped the ARG with Dinos, thanks to the help of Jared. And then I topped the remote regional about 2 years back with Rescue Ace. And the following year, I topped the 3v3 YCS at Vegas with Rescue Ace. We got in top 8, me and the two handsome fellas that are joining me today.
Hi guys, I'm Tyler Bendel. My noticeable tops are top 8 YCS Vegas with these two handsome individuals, playing Voiceless Voice. That YCS was covered in Snake Eyes and Fire King, so our team was the only one of the two teams not playing those, so that felt good. I've topped a few remote regionals. I won a couple of regionals. Most noticeable ones is Unmatched Gaming, owned by Christian Urena, and topped Philadelphia Regional not too long ago. I think it was earlier this year. I've only been playing competitively for 2.5 years, I want to say. I played when I was younger, around 2012, 2013 timeframe, but not to a competitive level. And then it was 2022, 2023 is when I came back and started taking it seriously.
Hey, my name is Jared Randolph, and I've been playing for I want to say 13 years. I started in 2012 to play competitively, and my biggest hits were topping every ARG that I pretty much went to, except for a small margin. And then in 2016, I got my first official Konami topping my 5th nationals. It was with a Cosmo deck, and that was in 2016. And that's when I was really getting behind the competitive scene. I also topped YCS Vegas with these handsome fellas, so that was a very good event, very good energy. Felt very prepared thanks to these two guys. We'll do it every year with them.
God, yes.
And Malice too. You got a top on
Oh, yeah.
Malice this past year.
Yeah, that was just a vengeance top. I was just like, I was just like,
Vengeance top.
yeah, I was just like topping regionals and OTSs, and I'm like, God, I need to have this YCS cup because like, what is going on here? Did I lose my superpowers or something? Like, it was crazy.
I feel that.
Pasadena won too. Yeah, True King Dino. It was the worst best deck.
My name is Lucas Henigan, and I've gotten 2 YCS tops, top 16 at YCS Richmond 2023, and then also top 16 at YCS Providence 2025.
One of the most important things that everybody I asked made sure to point out: practice, practice, practice. We're talking about practice.
As we sitting here, I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice.
It's almost obvious if somebody like comes up and asks, how do I get better at this game? And you just respond, play it. But I think that is kind of lost, and I think a lot of people do almost look for the cheat code, or like a get rich quick kind of scheme where like, oh, if I do this thing, then I won't have to play as much. But that really doesn't exist. Getting reps in is the most important thing for a lot of people. It's basically the same in any competition or just like sport, like weightlifting. You know, like the more you do it, the better you get, and you build upon the things you learn. In weightlifting's case, like the muscle you gain. Competitive, like video games and like traditional sports, all of these things, everybody who's really good at them has done them for a long time. And a long time doesn't necessarily mean like you have to start when you're a 12-year-old or whatever. It can just be like, you know, dedicating a good amount of time that you have available in your free time to playing Dueling Book or one of the automated sims, or trying to go to, you know, maybe an extra local during the week if you have that available to you. Just getting supremely comfortable with playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In any way, whether it is your current advanced deck, a different advanced deck, Go, Edison Hat, any of those things, just playing the game makes you better at the game.
Just being able to play locals a lot,
Yeah.
I definitely think helped contribute to the success I had. The one thing I do think that was like kind of cool about that year was I didn't play in a single regional or YCS, and I still ended up topping. The way that I've always approached things is just like, you know, it is a trading card game. You're going to have fun, and, you know, the more you practice, the better you're going to get. And if you do implement all of those things as well as just practice, it will come naturally. The one thing I will say, besides one, enjoying the game, is two, you do have to practice the game. It is no secret that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like the most difficult card game out of all the TCGs, at least in my opinion.
I think most would agree.
But yeah, I mean, irregardless of what card game you're playing, in order to be in the top 64 of any event, you have to practice a lot. I don't think a lot of people necessarily understand how much time people put into some of their success. Even myself, making top 64 at the 2022 Nationals, I think I still could have played more and maybe even done a little better. But looking back, it is what it is, you know?
You know, practice, and then practice more than that. And it doesn't even have to be, you know, you don't have to be constantly on DB, grinding out the ladder and whatnot. A lot of my practice, I'd say a majority of my practice, is I'm bored at work and I play against the Edo Pro AI.
Korea AI.
Like I literally just queue up full power tier limits on the AI on Edo Pro, and I try to break tier limit boards.
That's really funny.
My measure of a good deck is, can I break the AI tier limit board? Because to be fair, that's kind of difficult.
Hey, it's still a tier limit board.
Exactly. It may be AI playing it, but it's still full power tier.
Play a lot. That's funny to say. Just putting hours.
Yeah.
There's so I start there's definitely a part of a time where I stopped going to locals because I don't think locals are competitive enough for me to even get like good practice.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Which recently I actually changed that. I actually changed that thought. I think it's worse going to locals if the locals the tournament has both Swiss and Top Cut.
Yeah.
I think for locals that doesn't have Top Cut, people usually don't give much care about it. But for the ones that does, you actually feel like you're competing in a small tournament.
Yeah, something like I guess for like the people who are also from Philly who are watching this, something like Garden.
Yeah, Garden's actually surprisingly one of the most competitive locals in the area now.
Yeah.
Because in Saturday they do like Swiss into Top Cut. Usually enough people for like 5 rounds, and then top 8, and then like people do play out until at least top 4. Sometimes just play out the whole thing. If you do play a tournament, even a local with Top Cut, you're essentially getting practice of 8 rounds because it will be 5 rounds this top 8 will be 3 more. Yeah, so you get practice for 8 rounds.
Yeah.
And then once you move into Top Cut, you are facing people who also qualified from into the Top Cut, right? So now the top 8 bracket, you are facing good opponents, getting good practice. That's the local part. The other thing is just like play regionals. Regionals, like despite it doesn't have Top Cut, it still have enough rounds to play. And then there's also remote regionals. Like coming from COVID, there were a lot of people kind of against remote. Has even till nowadays still haven't set up. But it's after I play a lot of remote, I think it's still worth it. It's worth the time. Doing like because like there's quite often in like a random day during the weekend, you just don't really have anything to plan. Like there's probably not even locals or locals worth going. Might as well just turn on the camera, hop on Discord, play a remote regional.
Yeah.
That's still practice.
You're still like in your house, so you know.
Yeah.
You can like still eat and like do work in between rounds, and you know.
Yeah, you can. Remote regional is actually very chilling. You don't even have to wear anything, right? I've definitely played a whole day of regional just on my pajamas. Didn't even change. Didn't even take a shower in the morning. And then whenever I'm hungry, I just like go to the other room, go to the kitchen, grab something easily.
Yeah. All right. So anybody who plays Shu in a remote regional know that he stinks because he didn't shower that morning.
I mean, well, it's not like they can smell it through the camera. Yeah, it's pretty much a 10-hour rule. If you play enough hours, you will be better. Yeah. And then there is a trend like the people who did grind wool points were progressively getting better. And that's also why in the North America region we have so many good player and pro players now because there have been so many people grinding wool points.
But you need to play a lot. Like if you want to do well, you gotta play a lot. Like a lot. Yeah. For Yu-Gi-Oh! It might be like 50,000. But that's something like I think having a foundation like that is something that's really strong if you're trying to get better at the game actually. And it doesn't have to be GOAT specifically. It could be like another retro format. Like I know Edison's like really popular. And if you want to start with Edison, I wouldn't recommend actually like starting the game with any of these formats. But I think if you're trying like to get a good foundation for like, how do I just play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like fundamentally, I think if you're struggling with like the current format in whatever it may be, because you just like can't see it. Sometimes it's just a visual problem where you're just like, I can't see the line like 10 steps ahead of me because I'm still trying to figure out how like normal summon Cupsy gets me to this board, right? Like forcing yourself to play a format like GOAT or Edison where it is just slower because of how the game was kind of lets you understand it a little bit better because you're like, okay, I'm trying to set up to this thing that's going to happen a couple turns down the line. So like, how do I best go about doing that? And you have to always make like a decision at like every point. And it's the same thing as like doing a combo route, but just over a couple turns instead of all in your first turn. But also it helps you make reads too, because if you know all the cards in the format, then you can be like, okay, I can make a judgment call here that like he's already used 2 Sakus. He hasn't used his torrential yet. Like if I summon a guy, like it could be Mirror Force, but like it could also be the Torrential. So like, how do you play around both? And there could be a line that plays around both. There might not be. There might be just a line where you're like, I have to make this, and if it's Torrential, I lose. But or maybe you don't lose, but maybe like, you know, it's not good for you. So it teaches you how to play around specific cards, because you just have to know like every card that's in the format and like what your opponent has access to at all times. And then you can apply that to whatever other deck that you're going up against. You just have to kind of get that knowledge, right? And it's just about being able to get that knowledge, and it only comes with just playing a lot. Like, you just see people doing a certain thing and you're like, okay, well, like Draco Tail, they're going to play a lot of these type of hand traps. I should be wary of like when they're going to be playing that. Or like Vanquish Shoal, for example, in this format, it's like, it's not really likely that they're going to have Nib. So like, I'm just gonna, because it's not on attribute for them. Like, at least like in game one. So you're just like, I'll just be able to summon 5 times. And like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
However, playing the game isn't the only thing that needs to be done in order to improve. You could play the game for 10,000 hours, and if you don't have an understanding of why you're doing things, the reason behind each action you take, and a bit more advanced concepts, then it won't matter. And so the next point I want to bring up, practice in other ways besides playing. In addition to playing the game, you know, take some time to look at some topping deck lists on YGO Pro Deck, both of your deck and of the other decks in the meta, to see what you can kind of expect to see at an event, see what people are playing, see how the meta shifts, watch the deck profiles and listen to the people who topped and their advice and what they have to say about their deck and their experience playing. Because, you know, you could see a card in a deck list and put it in your deck, and then you go watch the deck profile and the player was like, this card was terrible for me. I hated playing this card. So you never really know if you just kind of only do it in bits and pieces. You really have to study to get better at the game. If you play on Dueling Book, watch your replays, and you can study and see if there was a better decision you could have made somewhere. If you made the correct decision and you got punished, or if you made the incorrect decision. Looking at the statistically best decision you can make versus like results based. In addition, there's a million like YouTube videos out there that talk about how to get play and get better at Yu-Gi-Oh! And you can watch those and gain a lot from those. I think one thing that has really helped me when I've been playing is watching DB Grinder videos a lot. Because in those videos, not only do you get to see people who are at a high level playing the game, but you get to see the things that they're testing and, you know, what works versus what doesn't work. Yeah, you have to not only play the game, but study the game.
So practice, you know, learn from friends, learn from anywhere. Click on those videos that are like day 2 X3 deck profile, because maybe there's something there that you don't know. And I also think for everyone, you only get better when you reflect inward. So, for example, let's say you do not too well in an event and you say you got sacked,
Yeah.
right? I don't think that's gonna help you. Um, the only way that you can learn from it is trying to see what you could have done better. Not trying to blame everything on like luck, like acting like you played perfect and your opponent just top deck godlike. Well, maybe the turns before that, maybe, you know, setting up follow up, maybe not comboing correctly, maybe building your deck or your side deck. Like those are all factors that could change too. You just have to, at the end of the day, try not to entirely blame it all on like luck or act like there's nothing that you could have done to not lose. You can only learn and get better when you know, look at yourself and what you could have done to improve it, not just blaming it on like luck or something like that.
Just building off what Chan said, there's any game that you lose or even that you win, there's almost always something you could have done better. And if you always sit down and look, what could I've done better? If there's nothing about what you could have done better, like technical play wise, if like all of the plays would have been the same, ask yourself, well, what cards could I have played differently? If you know, this card, these 3 effect veilers could have been 3 different hand traps, you know, something like that. Always ask yourself, what it is you could change about anything. If their answer was always going to be nothing, then you're not going to win that game, and that is okay.
Yeah.
Like, I refuse to ever acknowledge variance as something that is the reason I lost, but
Determinative.
because I will do everything I can to say I lost because of everything else. And if the answer was there was nothing I could have done better, that's okay. That doesn't reflect me as a player, and I can be comfortable without that. Like, there's so many like avenues and resources we have, YouTube videos, things like that. Our world champion has a very like popular YouTuber right now. Like, that's free content for you guys to like indulge in. Please like watch that stuff.
This next point is kind of a combination between the last two things I was talking about. As much as like people make fun of it in our community, you really shouldn't be ashamed of using things like spreadsheets and coaching and like, you know, paying for things like deck lists and stuff from these online sources like the Inner Circle. Hani Jawari has coaching services. A bunch of top players have these services available, and you should take advantage of them. Like, these people are proven to be the best in the world at the game, and they are willing to share that with you. And if you have the financial access, which I know is a big barrier for a lot of people, and I understand that, but if you have the financial access to pay for these things, then you should take advantage of that. It is something that will help escalate you in ways that you won't understand because you don't have the experience that these players have. And even like I was saying earlier with the free resources, like Julian Khan, who just won the world championship, has a YouTube channel where he has made many videos now talking about how he built his deck for Worlds and how he built to beat all the other decks in the meta that he was expecting.
If you can afford it, want to, it's okay. It is helpful to like even buy spreadsheets, joining, like buying service from better player. It's worth it if you can afford it.
Yeah.
And want to afford it.
Yeah.
I had a friend, a Chinese friend, because I was away during like beginning of this year, right? So like he was asking me, since I will be away, is it worth for him to like purchase like packs, the kind of the coaching service?
Yeah.
And I was like, if he thinks, I was like, okay, he's Chinese, he has the money, so if you think it's worth your time, you can try the first month, see if you want to continue or not.
Yeah.
Right, since he can't afford it. And then after the first month, he was like, it's 100% worth it because he can't really talk to me a lot while I was in China. So he found a new group actually within Inner Circle from PAC. And then he would just like, I think he continued for a couple months until he got busy. Definitely things like if money is more a concern to people, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe it gets too expensive. That's definitely can't happen.
Yeah.
But if anyone can afford it, want to afford it, it's worth it, I'll say.
I know the community has such a weird view of like coaching and stuff like that. Get a coach. Like, there's some of the best players in this game coach people. Like, yeah, you might pay for it, but I've done coaching before with Hani. Like, I've literally become a better player because of him, and yeah, shout out him. And
I'm seeing him on Friday. I'm literally seeing him on Friday.
He's like,
and if you don't have access to these things because of money, or you know, you're just like a little hesitant or anything like that, that doesn't mean that you don't have access to the help that better players can provide. This next point is something that pretty much everybody mentioned. Talk to the best players at your locals. Talk to people who do have these results, like the players that in these interviews do. Talk to the players who, you know, win locals every night. Talk to the ones who, you know, seem kind of intimidating because they're like playing the best deck. These people are often, I want to say often because I can't speak on everyone's behalf, a lot friendlier and a lot more willing to help than you would think. Pretty much every Yu-Gi-Oh player wants to see the game do well, wants to bring more people in and wants to make their local a very friendly and competitive environment. And the only way that that can happen is by bringing in new players and teaching them how to play the game at the best level that they can, so the local gets better.
Right.
Yeah, so not so much them. I will say Shunping at the time actually did let me stay at his house for that event. So if Shu is in this video, shout out to him. He is the GOAT.
I'll let him know.
And he also suggested one pot of desires, which was kind of like troll. But the logic was like, if you draw a pot of desires, you won't draw into another pot of desires, so it's always a plus. So yeah, it was kind of silly, but I mean, like, those are like some of the weird things that I look back and think fondly of, like with formats like that.
Yeah, that sounds like a Shu decision.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
For every Dragon Link Shu has, there's a million. What if we played Werewolf though?
And then when I got powerful cards and I started winning, I started really liking it and really liking winning. And then I met Jared, and he kind of helped me polish my competitive edge, because I'm really, when it comes to anything I get into, I full on get into. I think an important thing is a lot of the good players, or the players who are very competent, a lot of people have this kind of, I guess, thought about them where they might be like standoffish or intimidating or like have an ego. But meeting Jared, I was kind of afraid to approach him and like all the other competitive players because I just had my group of friends.
Yeah.
But then we played a couple times, and we got a lot of respect for each other. And I realized that that was all just kind of false. Approaching him for the first time, he was very nice, very inviting, helped me really learn a lot, and recruited me on the team like really early into my Yu-Gi-Oh career, probably around like 2015 when I was playing Burning Abyss, or 16, whenever like Cosmo was out too. But yeah, it was great meeting him. He was very kind to me, and he treated me like just any normal person.
I saw potential, and he was he still had his friends back then. He wanted his friends to tag along, but I was like, man, this kid's like pretty fucking good sometimes.
Actually start taking this seriously. Let me lock in.
Yeah.
So it was right when Cashier came out. It was like the first or second week of regionals afterwards. I had the Cashier deck. I got it right on release. Had a half of a case set up from winning a prior case tournament, and just walked in for this regional, and then was fortunate enough to win it. And that's kind of, was like, all right, I know what I'm doing. And that's kind of like when I started teaming with Jared more, because Jared took notice that like I was putting in the effort to get better. It was proving to be better, like, or it was proving myself that I was getting better. And he's like, yo, we're gonna work on you, work on this, and you've obviously gotten better, let's put the work in. And that's kind of when him and I started teaming for, I think, literally everything.
Yeah, I remember when I started, we had like Frazier, like Sean McCabe was my first opponent at a local. I was like playing the Shadal deck, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I play against Frazier, I play against Silverman and Gus. I'm like, these guys are insane. What is going on? And that's how I was able to learn a lot faster. You get your butt kicked until you learn how to keep your hands up.
Yeah.
I would go to this local pretty much exclusively, just because it was like the closest to where I lived. So I would go there. It started off like a lot of good like Philly players went to this local. So I learned like a lot very quickly. I don't know if you know the Mack brothers, like John and Tom Mack. They both were very influential on just like me getting better, because like I always saw them as like really good players, and they also both happened to like just go to the same like high school as me. Like they were way far ahead of me, like in terms of school, but like Oh, it was just like these like people from my community that were like very local to like where I live that were just having like success in a game that I wanted to have success in. So like I said, they're much older than me. But so they were like way far ahead in terms of like schooling. But like I don't know, I just like found out that they're, you know, in the same area as me. And yeah, I mean, I've just been like, they were going to play, and like having like them at that local was like really like influential to me in trying to like develop and get better, because I just try to like absorb as much as I could from them. And there were other guys there who like they topped multiple jumps. And you know, I just tried to learn from those guys, because they were the good players. So just do what they did, even if I didn't understand why. Like I would just learn.
This point is specifically related to the gameplay aspect, but it is something that, again, pretty much everybody we talk to recommends and pointed out as insanely important. You need to take the time to find a playstyle, a deck building theory, or something like that that really resonates with you and is something you will enjoy playing every format. I am somebody who really enjoys playing combo decks. I just like to take a lot of game actions. I like to figure out like how I can get to the route that I need to every turn, even though I don't have all the same starters. I like to understand how, you know, like this starter through this hand trap gets to this end board. And I think that was pretty obvious in the past videos I've done on this channel where I talk about Malice a lot. I'm looking at the decks I've played throughout my time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! I've played Malice, I've played Snake Eyes, I've played Branded, and variants of those decks. So I think being able to recognize that about myself is something that helps me stay invested in the game, because I know that every format I'm able to find the deck that I will enjoy playing the most and kind of build off that when it comes to approaching the format.
I originally went with it because I don't have any particular attachment to synchro monsters, and in fact, Exceed is my favorite mechanic. But modern synchro decks tend to play more into my playstyle.
Yeah.
Of being more mid-rangey, a bit more control decision tree oriented. So I gravitated towards Blue Eyes for that style of gameplay with the Primate cards of, you know, grinding out the game, cycling your drill beam and everything to just keep building value until you can just hit that big swing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I definitely enjoyed it when I started with the deck. Yeah, I mean, I'd say the most important thing is, you know, it's good to look at topping lists. It's good to understand the cards they're playing, the decks they're playing, and it's good to know what the best deck in the room is. If you do not like the play style, or the best deck doesn't mesh with the way that you feel the game should be played, or whatever it may be, don't play it. You'll get better results playing a deck you like than if you play a deck you don't like or doesn't mix with your play style, even if it's quote unquote better.
Yeah, I mean, I just went to a regional a couple weekends ago with you, and I was playing Vanquish Soul, and I was winning all my die rolls, just opening up like god awful. But when I test online, they're always like Holy Sue reveal, Azuna effect, and I'm like, man, I wish that could be me. So the thing about like the best decks too is, you know, they're the best decks because they have the most consistent results. But they still like all have flaws. But that doesn't mean that any other deck isn't good. Like a lot of decks, if they're able to play, are just insane. Like it doesn't matter. So like right now, I'm having a lot of fun playing Draco Tail, and I'm really loving the deck, and I'm playing it really well. But I like that third, fourth, fifth best deck because also your opponent might not be guaranteed to know how to interact with it.
Yeah,
But against like Vanquish Soul, they're always gonna, you know, kind of know what to do if they have it.
And Voiceless, while it was still, you know, not the hardest deck by any means or the best deck by any means, it was a solid choice that fit my playstyle of mid-range control kind of thing, like Kashtira. Like, yeah, they have like a god board or stuff like the 5 lock or whatever, but it was like pretty, you know, low ceiling kind of deck that you can do like the bare minimum and be completely fine. And I've always been, you know, partial to those kind of decks. So I learned that the deck pretty quickly based off of just, you know, pure enjoyment of that kind of style. And when I realized that I knew how to play against Snake Eyes to the point that I'm like, I'll literally beat every single opponent I play against.
I probably just should have played Cash, if I'm honest with you. Like, if I had to redo that format over again, if I just like picked up all the Cash cards and just played them for the rest of the format, I probably would have topped YCS Philly. Like, I probably would have. I think I would have got good with the deck, and I would have just played it like better than I played the other decks that I played in that format. But sometimes, like, when you see a deck or just like cards in general, and you just like, if you like look at 5 cards in your hand and like none of them make you smile, what's the point of playing the deck? And like looking at like Cafeteria, Unicorn, Theosis, and like Fenrir just like wasn't making me smile. So I just like moving cards around. If Yu-Gi-Oh to me is a game where like if you're not moving cards from like point A to point B, then why are you playing it? Like that's just my opinion, right? Like the whole point is to move all your cards. Like if you're just like doing nothing and you're not moving cards, like why are we playing this?
If you're not having fun, don't play. Everyone's number one piece of advice that they gave was you have to enjoy the game if you want to do well. That is something that a lot of people forget almost. The sunk cost fallacy is really something that is prevalent with Yu-Gi-Oh players because it is a really expensive game, like cost in the literal sense. You know, a lot of people will think, I spent $2,000 on my deck. I spent $600 last month on this trip to the YCS. And I haven't done well. I haven't done what I want to do. And they think that I have to keep going until I get to this point, when that's like kind of the opposite. You're only going to burn yourself out and make it harder for yourself to achieve these goals if you're, you know, dreading going to locals, not playing a deck you like.
That is the most important thing. I mean, if you're not having fun playing the game, what's the point of playing?
Yeah,
So,
I said exactly that earlier in the video. Just
Yeah, how about that?
you have to have fun in order to
Yeah,
do
no,
anything
exactly.
else.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my post 2022 experiences have kind of just been like traveling to events and just been having a lot of fun with friends. I mean, I will say I have made day 2 at a couple of events, but I haven't been able to get another top 64 or top 32 in another event.
Yeah,
But
I know you were close
yeah,
this year
I
at
mean,
Nationals.
at the end of the day, yeah, I will say at the end of the day, the most important thing is you have to have fun playing the game, because if you're not, you're just going to be miserable the entire time, and it will inevitably lead to quitting. Yeah, and I think to a degree, like, yes, it is nice to have a top, but like, if you're not enjoying yourself while trying to get to that goal, it's going to be a lot harder, for one, and two, it's going to take a lot longer.
In this game, everybody that I know who's really, really, really good at the game, they're obsessed with it, and to an extent. I don't know if you can really be that great at the game, only putting in a little bit of time each format, unless you're some insane like
Ryan
wizard at the game. Yeah, yeah, right. But like even still, like his fundamentals are so strong, and I think that can carry a lot of people. Just being able to think about something for a little bit and like fully gain a scope. But I do think that like if you want to get better at the game, you just have to fully immerse yourself. It's like learning a language or something like that. You're not going to be able to speak fluently off of just Duolingo. You got to like live it. So you really got to play, you really got to learn. There's really no days off with this game. Even in formats where I take a step away, I'm always clicking on YouTube videos. I'm always watching content, consuming content, looking at deck profiles, so that I'm like always involved, because I'm just obsessed with the game. And also I know that if I want to step back into the game, I'm not going to be super behind. Like I just won't be, battle tested on the field, honestly.
Like that's the thing, is like if you're just looking at it like purely financial thing, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh is ever going to be the game for you. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is like the best game that was ever made. I mean, obviously, we're both probably super biased on this because we're like talking for over like 2 hours about it. But like, it's given me so much and has like informed who I am as a person.
And lastly, and this is maybe even a bigger takeaway than the point I just had, and it summarizes everything, I think, and puts a nice little bow on the gift of improving at Yu-Gi-Oh! The community you build around you is everything. I'm very fortunate to live in a city where Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so prevalent. We have so many good players, long history of good players as well, because the good players that I got to talk to a long lineage of good players who taught them, who were some of the first generation Yu-Gi-Oh! Guys. The people you kind of build your circle with are like an extension of you almost. And you want to find people who are going to be happier when you win than when they win. You want to find people who are willing to deck build, talk theory, share their experiences, give you the tough love, like criticisms that you need to hear sometimes, willing to accept your criticism and respect your opinions. Something a lot of people said was like their results are a reflection of the people around them. And you don't get to the point of having success on your own. You need to build upon that with a group of people. There's like a really old saying that it's like it takes a village to raise a child. And while this isn't obviously nowhere near as important as raising a child, it takes a village to top a YCS. And that was something that I almost didn't realize the importance of until I was talking to all these people, and every single one credited the people that they test with. At the end of the interviews I asked everyone if they had any shout outs they wanted to give, and every single one of them, one of their first shout outs was their team, the people they test with, any of their friends. Like those were the most important people to them. And I think that rings true just on the whole. Just having people who are a positive force in your life will, only uplift you. And this wraps back to all the things I just previously talked about. If you have a good group of people around you, you'll have better practice. You'll have better people to theorize with. You'll be able to enjoy the game more because, after locals, you're going to get dinner with your boys. All these things are tied to the community that you have when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh!
So yeah, I mean, like I kind of just went because I know this is kind of how most people end up going to nationals. You get a group of like 3 to 4 dudes, and just make a weekend trip out of it. That was kind of the same logic that I was going through. Did a lot of the success to that format. To one, the people I was testing with, I definitely had a lot of good friends, who were available multiple times a week to where I would be able to sit down and talk about the game multiple times.
I think when I first came to the country in like 2011, I was like just into high school, and then during the weekends, I don't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah.
It's like I just come to the country, I don't know anyone. I'm like still not that used to the culture here either. So the only place I kind of would be interested would just go to locals.
Yeah.
Like my mom will she'll drive me to a local, drop me there, and then pick me up around like dinner time when everything finished, and then we go to like my uncle's house for dinner. That's pretty much every Saturday for me. I do like going to locals a lot when I first come here, almost as a way to like learn English. I was already at that point like a locally good player.
Yeah.
Have decent amount of regional tops, never any like YCs or Nats top.
Mhm.
So like my first YCS top is even like some of my friends saying like, "Oh, you finally got it," kind of thing.
That's funny.
Because like a lot of my friends just expecting me to either already have it or got it a long time ago.
Yeah, because you have such.
For how good I was at that point already.
Yeah, so like you've already had so
Yeah.
much success, but you haven't.
Yeah, I had
like,
like
been able to convert.
some good success. Like people around me with like similar skill level in the area already have tops, but I didn't.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like at the very beginning, like the reaction to it. My first top, not really like picking up on me. Like we kind of just be playing, and I was like honestly having either equal or slightly higher win rate against them, but they have tops I don't. That's kind
Yeah.
of what the situation. We're still just good friends. Like
Yeah.
But yeah.
Any players that like people watching a video would know?
Let me think.
I know
Who were the
Philadelphia
good
is like
ones?
Philadelphia is like one of the
Yeah,
better cities for Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah. I think like a lot of people, like a lot of the solid ones from Philly and Jersey area, like Nick Ma, Steve Glisson,
Oh yeah.
and honestly, even Jared Randolph, right?
There's still like a couple feature matches up there for that on the Konami website. So it was also a deck I also really enjoyed. So I enjoyed practicing with it, and my friend Darren, who was like no longer with us, let me borrow it for a very long time until I got my own. Yeah, he was a really great guy.
Right as Tier was dying and Kashtira was just about to come out, that I started to really want to take the game more seriously because our friend Darren, may he rest in peace, he was watching me watch a top 8 game at a console tournament. I think it was for a Switch, and I was like kind of bummed out that I wasn't there, but I was playing Tier at the time and just said, I'm not going to play for this event because I'm tired of using my brain.
Yeah.
And he said, Tyler, I'm pissed at you because you know what you're doing with that deck and you know it better than you think you do. And he goes, you are better than you think you are. You just need to apply yourself. And that was kind of like the kick in the ass I needed to say, all right, let me actually start taking this seriously. Let me lock in.
But really, I was just happy. I was like overjoyed to do it with 2 of my really good friends who I know are also insane at the game was even better. While like everybody's like rooting for us at home, getting texts from my wife, my mom who knows nothing what's going on at the game. And like my dad had it on the TV and he's just like,
Aw, that's adorable.
did he win? And so it was awesome. It just felt like truly indescribable, and it made me like hungrier for more. And not to mention, it was really important, not just for like me or us as individuals to top, but we did it in honor of our good friend Darren who passed away. So doing it wasn't like a top for us; it was like a top for him and all of his other friends who put their faith in us to represent, and we did. Like literally, it just felt like I was floating like the whole weekend. Like I was just playing cards, not that I had to even do that much thinking. It's just like I did the move that was like obvious.
I was crying, honestly. And like not because of, the whole it being my first. I knew as cocky as this might sound, I knew I was going to get it eventually.
Yeah.
I had been putting in so much work to get to that point and where I'm at now that the hard work I know is going to pay off. But sorry, I'm getting like choked up because we had lost our friend Darren, like Chance said, a couple weeks beforehand, and that
he was like
was
supposed to go on a trip with us.
Yeah, that was my brother. Like that was I would I would talk to him, every day, every other day about the game or just sometimes how he was doing. And losing him was just a shock to literally everybody that knew him, and I knew I wasn't playing that day for me. I was playing for not just like Jared and Chance, but I was playing for him, and I knew in that moment like he was proud of us, that we did him proud. We did him proud, and he just my first top getting to be for him. I just wish he was there for that. So I was like, happy that I got there, and I was and then I was just like wishing that he could have been there to see it. And like I know he saw it. Like but that's what like made it really, really special.
Yeah. Just like I remembered like in all your deck profiles and post match interviews, you're like we had the advantage, we had a 4th player.
Yeah.
And that was...
we were always going to be up a player.
This one's like actually my favorite top, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
it was just I got to play with them. I represented my son Darren. Me and him, we went way back. He used to ride with me to a couple of ARGs, and it was always fun having him in my car talking smack, and it's like, well, it looks like we did butt. And it was just like good old times. It was just me, him, and Jeff. We were like a trio for a little bit, and then your kids. You watching your kid. You're kind of like your kids grow a little bit because technically nowadays I'm pretty much an unc. So
It's not technically, dude. It's
I
solidified.
guess I'm unc. So yeah. So yeah, it was like it was really nice being able to represent like my son, pretty much my son Darren, pretty much because me and him used to like go all over the place, all over the world, to a lot of events. So
And just having a good circle of people to test with or bounce ideas off of. Because honestly, in this game, like it feels like it's always a 3v3. When I go to a YCS or I go to a nationals, it's not because me alone, I'm the one preparing. I'm preparing with my team. We're all trying to get each other better because you're only really as good as the people around you.
I mean, it's like it feels really good. You kind of get a little bit. I mean, like I'll be lying if like I didn't have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but not with like the people that are local. I guess it was more like in my testing circle with the people that I like theorize with all the time. It's like, okay, we're all trying to like, I want them to top too. So it's like it feels like we've done this together. Like it's not just me who has it there, but now it's like I get to just say in our circle, like, yeah, well, you should listen to me more because I mean, like, look at the scoreboard, like I get to just like flaunt that a little bit over people, but it's now just like, okay, like we worked on all of this together. Like you had input, even if like you thought that what I was doing was wrong, like we tested against one another. We both got our like our input in here, and now like our ideas, whatever we synthesized and made here, this is our result, and it feels good that like we can point to this and be like, hey, like we did this together, kind of thing. So that was really awesome to do, and it just feels good when like all of your work, and not just like the work of yourself as an individual, but the work of like everybody that helped you out, helps you get to that moment. I talked to like some of my best friends in like the world, like who I've known for like 18 plus years. Like they're like, they know I play Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff, but they're just like, man, like I just don't really do anything else besides like work and like hang out like with some people. Sometimes like I feel like something's missing. I'm just like, I'm like, dude, Yu-Gi-Oh, like it doesn't have to be Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I would love it for you to be Yu-Gi-Oh personally. Like if you want to, like I will teach you if you really want to learn. But like just finding something like to do, like a hobby, like anything that like you're genuinely interested in and that you like it's going to enrich you so much, because you're just going to meet other people who are like into the same thing as you. And you're going to like just meet cool people that you would never have met otherwise. Like I've met people from the Midwest. I've met people from like the West Coast, right? Like people that I just would not have ever connected with or like stayed with. Like this year for Nats, I had a house with like 15 people, right? We got a big Airbnb and we like went out a couple days before Nats to like test and just hang out. We're just genuinely enjoy each other's company. We just happen to meet through Yu-Gi-Oh. My friend in our group here, he works at his family's cattle ranch, and so he brought like the grade A meat for us, and so we had one of our friends cook it up, and we had like a feast on the first night. It was so delicious.
So those are the most important things I gained from those conversations, I think. If people want to see the full unedited interviews, I can definitely upload those. Some of them got pretty long, so I didn't want to just post them without context or without people actually having any interest in them. Multiple of them went up to like over an hour and a half even. But if people want to see them, then I'd be happy to post them with the permission of the people interviewed, of course. But yeah, I think that this was a very a very informative experience for me as the person doing the conversation, getting to ask the questions that were specifically interesting to me. And if you guys have any questions that you would like answered that you don't think I covered, I'll be sure to leave those in the comments, and I can, these people are all just a message away. I can ask them and leave their replies. Now I'm going to give everyone the opportunity to present their shoutouts that I asked them in their interviews. Like I said earlier, a lot of people shouted out their friends, teams, testing circles, kind of things like that. So I wanted to allow that light to shine.
Shoutouts. I guess one shout out to Tom, and all his endeavors with YouTube.
Thanks.
Definitely wish you good luck, and hope you're going places. And yeah, I guess because I mentioned him earlier, shout out Shunping, the GOAT. And yeah, I think that's it.
And fuck Mondo.
Yeah, fuck Mondo.
No specific last words. I do just want to shout out my brother Jared, though, because I didn't shout him out during my deck profile video for the regional, and I still haven't heard the end of it, and that was like 5 months ago.
You're done. You're done, buddy.
So every opportunity I have now, I have to shout him out.
Of course, of course. Any other shout outs before we kind of wrap this up?
I just generically, Tom and all the other Cryptic Collections guys, they're the reason that I really got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! I went to locals at Cryptic and liked all the people, so I kept going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're in Jersey, that's a great local.
Yeah, go to Cryptic Collections. It's great.
Cryptic Collectibles.
And then also JNC Collectibles in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
They actually sponsor Shunping.
Yeah.
But that's my locals now since I've moved back to Pennsylvania. The guys there are great. All the players are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
They good prices on their cards and products. I like going there.
Well, shout out to my sponsor team JNC, pretty good supports, and then shout out to all the fans supporting me.
I guess shout out like everybody at AU, my friends who I travel with. Shout out you, Thomas. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
But yeah, there's honestly too many people to shout out individually, but shout out these guys right here. Shout out you. Shout out everybody at AU. That makes me better every day. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Tyler?
Shout out you, of course, for having us on. Thank you. Shout out the guys at AU. Shout out Starlight Games, another local of ours. Shout out my team Inspire. That was one of the big things that happened to me. I got signed to a team after my success. And but as always, my biggest shout out will always go to shout out Baby Darren. I love and miss you.
And Jared?
Shout out to my son Chance up on the top here. Shout out to my boy Tyler Bendel. And shout out to everyone at AU. Shout out to people at Starlight and Starlight Games themselves. Yeah, it's like kind of feels like a family going back into these stores and everything like that. So
yeah, I mean, shout out to obviously like everyone in Philly, especially the people that I play with at Garden and Birthday Delights. If you're in the Philly area, please come out. It's incredible vibes there. I swear. Just a lot of good dudes and like a lot of very competitive people, like multiple YCS toppers, YCS champions show up. So like if you want to get better, it's definitely like the place to be, at least in my opinion. And then the people in my testing circle, Duncan, Zohair, Brandon, Tito, Dawson, Luke, RIP. He's not actually dead. It's just a joke. Yeah, Mike, everyone I didn't mention in it, they know who they are. They're I'm built on their back. Like if I don't test with these people in this group, I don't top any YCS ever. So
and yeah, I think next week will be a video about my absence for the last little bit on the channel, and then talking about the current format, the Philadelphia Regional, and what my plans are going forward. So with that, this has been Boxcar Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm happy to be back, and yeah, thank you for joining.